Just got it. No, but when it on the front camera, this was backwards. So y'all would have been looking at it like, oh, that was dumb. So you said 19,
X is going to be equal to 3.
and how did you get there? What does equal? 21. And what you do?
You got 7.
Yes. Yes. So X equals 3. Boom! We're done. Mental snap it up for yourselves. That is done. We've solved for X. We know that this side is supposed to equal 12, but we were just told solve for X. We found our X. So leg 1 and leg 2 equal what though? 12 feet. Because it's an isosceles triangle, we know that they're going to be congruent. Next thing. What do we fill in? What should we go for next? The 2 angles. Let's talk about those 2 angles. With those 2 angles, what do you need to find? What do you need to know?
That the angle is 44 degrees.
Yes, the angles are,
44.
yes, both angles. So I'm going to call it angle 1. It's supposed to be equal to, or I can put congruent. Why didn't I put that? Duh. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 2 at the bottom. I know we didn't give them numbers, but you know what I meant, right? Yeah. Angle 1 is congruent to angle 2. Correct? Why do we know that angle 1 is congruent to angle 2?
Because they have a little hash mark.
Yes, because they have the same hash mark, and we know we're dealing with what type of triangle?
Isosceles.
Yes, an isosceles triangle. Thank you, guys. So what does angle 1 equal?
Angle 1 equals
44 degrees.
No.
Well, what does it say it equals? X plus 5. What do we know it's supposed to equal?
44 degrees.
Yes. It's supposed to be equal to, and angle 2 is 44 degrees. So what you can actually think of this as, if this is 44, yes, this is 44. So you can think of it as x plus 5 has to equal 44, or basically knowing that these 2 are congruent, you know it's going to equal 44. Any questions there? And let's solve it.
Minus 5 on both sides.
Minus 5 on both sides. Absolutely. So we've solved x twice here. Probably wasn't supposed to put the same variable, but I digress. Now with that being said, we know that this is 44. Great. Because if you were to go work that back, it would be 39 plus 5, which is 44. Very nice. And last but not least, what else are we looking for? The W. Tell me why, or well, not why, but how are we going to find out what W equals?
Add it on to
Yes, and do what?
Add it all the way to
And do what with them? Where's my red? Now, when you say add them all together, which are you talking about?
And you subtract them from 180.
All right, there we go. To solve for W, which I'm calling it solve for W, but when we know what we know, because we know it already, all of the angles in a triangle equal up to what? 180. The other way that I can say that is the sum of the interior angles of a triangle equal what?
180.
Yes. So therefore, what are we going to add?
After the calculus, I can add.
Yes.
So you add 12 plus 12.
We want to do the inside.
Also 44.
Plus,
44
yes.
plus W.
So we can come back and do it that way.
Wait.
We could come back and do it that way. We could actually, let me do it the 2 ways. Save that, because that's the actual equation. 44 plus 44 plus what?
W.
Equals,
180.
absolutely. Now let me back up.
Because the 2 like terms is 44 plus 44. So
Absolutely.
88.
Yes, ma'am.
So 88 plus W is 180.
Absolutely.
And then minus 88.
So now 180 minus 100, minus 88. You said 92?
Yeah.
All right.
92 equals W.
Yep. And I'll also show you the other way just to do that one. So this ends up being 92 degrees. How would you check your work here? Add them all up. 92 plus what?
44.
And it should give you perfect. Now, with that being said, keep in mind the shorthand way a lot of us like to add to do the triangle angles is what? Add them together, so it would look like 44 plus 44, and then what? That's 88, and subtract from, from 180. Same difference. Notice both of them are the same thing. So with that being said, you can choose whichever method floats your boat. Now let me see if that's it. Okay. And we'll do one more together. Does anybody have any questions on this at all? Okay. So this second example is going to be quick, but you also will be able to use this thought process many a time. So I would say after this, then we can start restrooms and things of that nature, because you guys will be working on your practice. That was some good feedback you guys gave. I like it a lot. We are dealing with isosceles triangle, so you can assume that what I'm drawing is an isosceles triangle. This is number 2. This should be it. I'm gonna make sure it's it, but this should be it. No. Give me a second. I just gotta think real quick. And that's how we're going to know, yes, this is an isosceles triangle, okay?
So what was the other one? Isosceles?
Now, in this particular, well, is anybody still writing?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Go ahead.
You started this one with 40?
So all we're given here is one angle. Please don't overthink it, y'all. Don't overthink it.
So it's going to be 40 plus 40 plus M equals 180.
That was a good thought process.
So it will be M plus 40
Equals what?
180.
Not yet. You almost there.
And plus 40.
She just said that.
Not yet. You guys are like one piece off. All you're missing is one piece. Let me go back. We got an isosceles triangle. What are the 2 facts?
Oh, legs?
Yep. 2 of the legs equal what? Tell me the fact about the 2 legs. Congruent. The 2 legs are congruent. We don't even have any legs this time, so we're not going to focus too much on the legs. Tell me about the angles in an isosceles triangle. Say it again. Okay. And tell me something that we know about, like the facts. So we got one fact is that 2 of the sides are congruent. What else do we know as a fact? Yes. Yes. Which 2 angles?
Angle 1 and angle 2.
And what are those angles called? I should have named them, sorry. 1 and 2. Those would be your base angles. So this would be your base. These 2 are your legs, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to just note that this is the base. So those base angles are supposed to be what? Equal. They are congruent. With that being said, what are the sum of the interior angles? Interior angles, what should these 3 angles equal? 3 angles equal. Yes, 180. We know for a fact those 3 angles have to equal 180. I don't know why I just did that. Tell me what we do have.
We have the 2. We have 1.
And if we have one of the base angles, then we know we have the other base. What is this base angle? M. There we go. So we were only given this one, but we know that they're supposed to be congruent. So we're also able to do, I'm going to put that in a different color. I mean, y'all going to get the video too, but. Sucks. So now how would we set up our equation?
M plus 2M plus 4.
Yes. And if you can't see it that way, then you would say M plus 40 equals 180. So I'm going to write it that way for now, since it's still new. So M degrees plus 40. But I am impressed with everybody that's able to see it right off the bat. So that's not bad. Very nice. So your equation here is going to be M degrees.
Oh, no, I didn't. I lied.
It's okay. You almost had it. Y'all were really close. Y'all was just missing that one M. That's it. So M degrees plus 40 degrees equals 180. Correct?
So you combine them like that.
Yes, ma'am. And how do we combine them?
7 degrees
2M
plus 40
plus 40
equals 180.
equals 180. Now we're going to be dropping degrees.
It could be 150
And how?
minus 40.
So minus 40 on both sides.
140. I mean, 140, I'm sorry.
140 here. Drop your degrees, because this is not a degree. We subtract. And what do we bring down? 2M. This is important.
70.
Yes. This is important. At this step, this is the sum of the base angles. So write that here.
What?
When it says 2M equals 140, this 140 is the sum of the base angles. Which means that these two angles are going to equal 140. So with that being said, we take it that step further, divide 2 on both sides.
Equals 70.
Yes. So that means what?
70 plus 70 equals 140.
Absolutely. So that means here, M degrees or M 70 degrees. And then what is angle 2?
70.
70 degrees. Any questions? And how would you check your work here?
70 degrees plus 70 plus 40.
Absolutely. And they should equal 180. Any questions so far? Okay.
Now, can I go to the bathroom?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you.
So now that you guys are done with that, I'm going to give you just a few of these problems that I want you to look at first. Oh, let me stop the video. I can't wait till you guys see it. I do love you guys. Okay, see you later on Schoology.